Hello, everyone. It is October 29th, 2025. Hope you're all doing well. It is 10:17 p.m. here in Albuquerque. So, little after midnight on the East Coast. Hope everything's cool. Hope you're all doing mellow. And I hope there's not too many crazy things going on in your life. If you are facing challenges, I know you'll meet them. Everything's cool. Thought I'd come on for a little bit, talk about some things that have been going on, things that have been on my mind, and mostly want to just say, hey, we'll go a mellow show, slow moving. Nate X is here. Welcome, man. Let's see if I can. And Culver Zero. What's happening, Dave? Good to see you guys. Dave and I have been emailing each other about how reality is different now than it was. And I might as well do the disclaimer. If you're new to this channel, we talk a lot about pretty far out topics on this channel. It gets pretty far out and into what people call conspiracy theories even. But I don't ever use that term, conspiracy theory, and it's usually not used by my viewers. Let's see, let's get situated here. So there's the disclaimer. Glad some people are coming in. Let's take a look at the weather. Oh, wow, it's 48 in Albuquerque right now. That's almost hard to believe. It even says freeze warning. Middle Rio Grande Valley, that's me. Severe weather alert. Freeze warning remains in effect. As low as 28. When people from cold places come to Albuquerque, they laugh about how Albuquerque people freak out when it's under 60 degrees. Nate says it's raining 50 degrees Fahrenheit in Virginia. Sounds pretty good. I love the rain. I've got my I've got my King James Bible here. I've had this since the 90s. And we're going to look at Isaiah 55. This is Isaiah 55, verse 8 and verse 9. So here it is, starting with Isaiah 55, 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. That's pretty clear. That's pretty clear. And here's verse 9. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. That's laying it down pretty clear, you guys. That's pretty clear. Um, God's thoughts are not our thoughts. And let me read it again, number 8 and 9. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. More and more people are coming around to figuring out that our thoughts are not our own. We're not the people initiating the thoughts that we're having. These thoughts that humans are having are despicable, and the mind will take you just about anywhere. I used to think it was just me, or, so to speak. And everybody does seem to have the same problem. Everybody seems to be lost in thought. And the trick is to get away from that, because these thoughts are no good. And as Jesse Lee Peterson says, all thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. Um, it's really hard for a lot of people to wrap their minds around that, because somebody might say, well, what if my house is on fire? I have to think to put it out. Or what if I'm working on a project? I have to think to make that project happen, whether it's an artistic project or a practical type of project. Um, it requires thinking. Well, not really. That's not the thinking that we're talking about here. What that is when you're working on a project and you have to use your head to get to do the project right. That's really not thinking. That's deducing, and that's being. That's just being. That's you living your life. And when you live an authentic life, you're doing God's work. So in a sense, it's not you thinking. It's God thinking. Now, if that's not thinking, what is thinking? Thinking is like when you're sitting around at home, and before you know it, you're lost in thought, and you're thinking oftentimes about something to do with resentfulness or bitterness, or something to do with anger. Um, that verse from the Bible is powerful. Isaiah 55, verses 8 and 9. So we talk a lot about the deception, the great deception on this channel. How the powers that be lie to us through education, media, and all that about what reality is, really. I mean, they'll have you convinced that their presentation of reality is more real than what you know or what we know. Um, and this, of course, includes things that we talk a lot about here are things like the Mandela effect. I discovered a new Mandela effect recently. Beavers' teeth are now orange. And when I was growing up, a beaver always had white or off-white teeth, but they're orange. They've always been orange. And also Some are still white and off-white. But, we talk about the Mandela effect, which is basically, in a nutshell, the Mandela effect is when history changes. And of course, that should be impossible. History changing should be totally impossible. We talk a lot about the shape of the earth. Most of my viewers believe fully that we've been lied to about the globe earth. It can't possibly be shaped like that. So there is a great deception going on. How deep is it? Well, it goes all the way to how the fact that our thoughts are no good, and we're not being told that. They're lying to us about what our thoughts are. And that's about the closest thing to you on a day-to-day. It's right. It's the most excuse me. It's not the closest thing to you. It is a personal thing. It's a personal thing. What they're lying to us about. Yeah, this deception goes far and deep. Let's watch a little bit of this video. Have you guys seen this? This is Jimmy Dore on the left, Jesse Lee Peterson on the right. Pretty epic meeting.
Getting left. And I'm like, well, if it could happen to that guy, when it happens to me, it's not that big. If you do a show and a bad show.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think that anymore.
Okay.
So why don't you drop it?
Anger?
Yeah. What would happen if you...
Getting all that dirt off.
Okay, sorry about that. We're going to start up right now. And this is just going to go for like 2 minutes, starting right now.
You from the bad show.
Right.
Yeah.
What would happen if you dropped your anger?
If I drop my anger?
Yeah. What would happen?
I used to think that I would lose my edge. But I don't think that anymore.
So why don't you drop it?
I'm imperfect.
But you're only imperfect because you won't drop it.
Oh, okay.
If you want to be perfect, you got to drop it.
Oh, okay.
So why don't you drop it?
Okay, will do.
Amazing.
Okay. You're making some breakthroughs here today, Jesse.
What do you mean?
You already got me to drop my anger.
Do you know how to drop it?
No, how do I do it?
Forgive your mother.
Forgive my mother?
Yeah, she recreated her image.
Oh, you think it's got to do with my mother,
100%.
not my father?
No.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
Your father loved you.
I had a great relationship with my mother.
I know that's the problem.
Is that a problem?
Yeah. You couldn't deal with it, so you conformed.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And so you think I have anger over me being forced to conform?
Yes. She
Oh.
imposed her will on you.
I know I
as
haven't.
a kid.
Yeah, oh, sure.
And when she did that, you became angry because you were innocent. And you were not angry as a kid.
Oh.
And she imposed her will on you. She played victim. She made...
I don't know if you should be allowed to talk about my mother like that.
She pretended to be a victim. She acted like your dad was the bad guy when she was the hell to pay. Your dad can deal with her, but she pretended like he was the problem.
Oh, really?
She turned you away from him. You became angry. And the moment you became,
Oh, my God.
and the moment you became angry, you took on the same mentality to her.
Oh, really?
Emotional, angry, overreaction. You got to forgive her so God can forgive you.
Oh.
And take that away from you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't feel like I have a grudge against my mother.
How about your father?
I had for a while.
See?
My father.
What did he do to you?
Just I wanted more out of the relationship than my dad was able to give.
What did he
My
do
dad was
to
kind
you?
of he was emotionally distant, kind of didn't know how to kind of enjoy my successes.
You
And
know
so
why?
It kind of pushed.
Because you grew up a mama's boy.
How do you know this? You know, I have 6 older brothers.
Right, but you a mama's boy.
Okay.
And so when your dad tried to deal with you, it was like dealing with his wife.
Ah. Maybe you're right about that, huh?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So forgive your father. He loved you. He
No,
just didn't know how to deal with your mother.
I bet that you might be right about that.
Yeah.
But
Amazing, huh?
my parents they were married for, I don't know, 70 years.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt real quick, and then we're gonna watch it for just one more minute. So we're just gonna do one more minute of this video, but I just want to say real quick, Jesse Lee is telling this dude a lot of personal things, but what you need to know is that Jesse Lee Peterson believes this is the case for everyone, literally everyone. So, you know, I forgave my parents a while back, a long time ago. And I always knew personally that that was crucial if I want salvation. But I didn't really know that that was the case for everyone. But that's what Jesse Lee Peterson is saying, that every single human, literally every single person, has the same problem. Basically, they need to forgive. Every human needs to forgive their parents and drop their anger and let go of thought. That's what's happening here. Let's check this out for just one more minute.
Or something like that.
So will you forgive your mother for recreating her image?
Yeah, I don't think my mother needs forgiveness. I think
Why
everything's
not?
okay. Because I don't.
It's not for your mother, it's for you. Your mother may love her misery. You want to be free.
Oh,
and the only way
okay.
you're going to be free is you got to realize, you know what, mother, you did your best. I'm sorry for resenting you, but I know, because her mother did it to her.
And that happened to you too? Do you resent your
Every
mother?
human being.
Every human being resents their mother?
Not every human being, yeah.
Wow.
Boys and girls, men and women.
Okay.
And so if you want to know the Father, you got to forgive your mother so you can turn to the Father.
Oh, okay.
Then you will know God.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can't love God and resent anybody, especially your Father.
Oh, okay. You don't resent anybody?
No one at all.
Really?
For any reason.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to happen to you.
Even like even like Joe Biden, you don't resent him for
Not at all. Even the fallen Messiah, I don't resent him.
Who's that?
You know who the fallen Messiah is. That black guy that was the president.
Oh, you mean Obama? You call him the fallen Messiah?
Yeah.
Boy, he's
What
not
a
what
mess, huh?
he's not what people thought. I vote.
Okay. Let's so that's the idea. I see my friend DJ Emo cracking up. Expand on that, Emo. I'd like to hear your opinion because I know you're familiar with Jesse Lee. But the idea is to drop your anger. See, you guys, we spend a lot of time on this channel talking about like deceptions, and you know, they lied to the masses about this. They lied to the to the masses about that. But now we're learning that, you know, and I've always asked this, how deep is the deception? How far does it go? Well, it goes all the way down to our thoughts. I mean, they're lying to us about our thoughts. And basically what it is these thoughts that we're having of resentment, of anger, etc., these are not coming from us. They're coming from the devil. And so many of us have studied and looked at the big lies that they're telling us and concluded that there's some kind of demonic force behind this deception. I mean, and people don't realize it. They're being lied to about everything big and basic. Look at these beavers and their orange teeth. Call for Zero says he doesn't remember the teeth being orange either. Look at that cool beaver. Where was I? Yeah, and that's the trick, you guys. That's what the trick is to separate yourself from those thoughts. Realize, recognize they're not coming from us. Therefore they're not a part of us. And like for me, it's almost like looking at smoke. It's like the thoughts come into my mind or they try, and then I remember that they're not my own, and I disassociate from them. I don't identify with them, and I basically watch them float off into the nothingness that they are. These thoughts are nothing. And I think of the troubles I had with PTSD in my life. You know, I didn't know that those thoughts were not my own. You know, and PTSD for me was basically waking up in the morning and thinking about how things went bad. Um, Hard to stop thinking those thoughts. They snowball. They have a way of snowballing. But I don't do that anymore. And I've been feeling more myself after the bout with PTSD. And DJ Emo is laughing because Jesse Lee was poking at Jimmy Dore. These are pretty heavy duty people, Jimmy Dore and Jesse Lee. That was a pretty good meeting. If you guys didn't see it, check it out. You can find it. Just, I think it's on the Jesse Lee Peterson channel. Dore is quick, but he wasn't sure there. Yeah, he really walked into that interview not knowing at all what Jesse's thing is. But props to Jimmy Dore for doing that. Let's see. Emo says he had the still eye going with the fixed grin. He had the still eye going with the fixed grin, says DJ Emo. Yes, please do that, Emo. So let me write this Bible verse down. Pretty powerful Bible verses. I'll read them one more time, and then we'll get on with the show. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. All right. So remember that, people. Yeah, what we're doing here is not what God does. The thoughts that we have are not at all the thoughts that He has. And what the trick is like I said, just don't identify with them. When those thoughts start happening, don't identify with them. And if you're struggling with some kind of addiction, same deal. That craving is not you. That craving that you're having, it's not you. It's certainly not your fault, but it's literally not you. It's the devil causing those thoughts of craving in your imagination. Um, don't identify with them. Don't identify with those cravings, and just endure the pain. But that's addiction talk and personal stuff. Emo, you're in England, correct? Forgive me, I've asked you that before. I thought Emo says he finished. I finished Enoch last week. Have started the Jubilees fun stuff. I don't really know what that means. Well, the Book of Enoch is one of those texts that didn't make it into the Bible. Thanks, Emo. Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland. I'll try to remember that. All right. What else, you guys? It's the fall. It's the autumn. We're coming up on Halloween. Do you guys remember what the very first Halloween costume you ever wore was? Mine was Casper the Friendly Ghost. There's a cool picture somewhere. I should post it of me as Casper and my brother as Superman. And it would be like 1974, 75. Yeah. Sunlight looks really cool this time of year. It's like golden. You guys hear the one about the baker's assistant? Why did the baker dislike his new assistant? Because he was too needy. Huh? Huh? And of course, the joke I've been telling for all of October and September, what was Beethoven's favorite fruit? What was Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. Yeah. Yeah. So, getting back to the show, yeah, that's what's been on my mind a lot. This idea of cleaning out one's mind, of like eliminating thoughts. That's a lot of things that I've learned from Jesse Lee Peterson. It's really a simple message that is being delivered here. There's just a few points to it that, and here it is. It's forgive your parents. This way you can ultimately forgive everyone by dropping your anger and know that those angry thoughts are not your own. And furthermore, people who did you wrong, they didn't do you wrong. They just did your ego wrong. And what it was it's like everyone has this fake front of themselves. Like some people call it an avatar, right? So when someone does you wrong, that's just their surface fake self doing your surface fake self wrong. But it's not you. It's not him and you or her and you. This isn't anything that you should ever take personally. And it's really helped me to drop my anger, to know that those thoughts are not your own. And you guys, the reason I'm pushing this is not just because I heard it somewhere. I, I'm 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 talking about this a lot now because it works. When you're sitting there at home, and when I'm sitting at home alone, and I start the process of thinking about this, well, that's the wrong word. When I start the process of knowing of that these thoughts are not my own, and not identifying with them, and like I said earlier, they fade away into the nothingness that they are, almost like smoke. Um, when this happens, when I'm doing this, a great sense of peace enters me, and a smile comes to my face. And I ain't kidding, people. I'm not kidding. And you can look up Jesse Lee Peterson silent prayer. He shows you kind of how to do it. But basically, that's really all it is. Just sit there, and if you're having crappy thoughts, just recognize that those are not your own. Don't identify with them, and they will fade away. And what you're left with is an emptiness that becomes filled with the light of God. And it brings a smile to my face. And it feels good. I'll get to the chat in just a second. I see some activity. Um, uh, this works. And once you're in that space where you've eliminated the thought, you're feeling good, that's when you focus on the present. Notice what's all around you and really be present. And that's the goal, is to be present and be your authentic God self, your authentic light. By God self, I meant God is within all of us. And that's our authenticity. That's us at our most authentic, when we've surrendered our ego, our thoughts, and accepted the fact that we are simply the light of God. And once you do that, everything becomes clear. Everything. Even your next move. Preaching a sermon tonight. Let me see what's going on in the chat. I see. The book of Jubilees comes after Enoch. Totally cool, man. Emo says, thinking nothing is phase one meditation. Do it in a quiet place, especially proper quiet, no sound around. Yeah. And Call for Zero and I have been communicating about reality and how it changed since back in the day. Call says, I actually started thinking more like a computer around 1997, 98. More of a file system rather than stuff sack. Stuff sack? Well, interesting, man. That's interesting. I told Call that I noticed changes uh, like around 1983. Um, like the 83, 84 school year, I was in the seventh grade. And I started to notice on TV and in life that, like, for example, adult males started looking like different. They started looking different, more boyish. Like, um, Then the breathing must come in. Emo says, referring to the meditation. Nice. Nate was an army soldier for his first Halloween. He says, I was an army soldier and put charcoal on my face to simulate 5 o'clock shadow on my 5-year-old face. I had army fatigues and a bolt action rifle. All right. That's cool, man. It's criminal how we grew up and what is going on now, Emo says. Sure is. Sure is. I've been watching a lot of monster movies because I don't like horror movies. I don't like horror movies. There might be one or two that I enjoyed, but it's weird how popular horror movies are. But I told myself I'm going to get into the spirit of Halloween and watch something spooky. But the most I could do is monster movies from the 1950s. And I saw a really cool one from, I think, 1951. It's called The Giant Behemoth. Behemoth. How do you pronounce that word? Behemoth. The Giant Behemoth. Behemoth is how my brother and I would have pronounced it when we were kids. You'd see that word a lot in comics. Behemoth. Anyway, good movie, and it took place in London. This will be my movie review for this week. Black and white monster movie, 1951, takes place in London, England, and I think it was made in England. And what's notable about this monster movie is the dude who did King Kong, what do they call it? Like clay animation. The dude who did the King Kong monsters, he did the giant behemoth. And it's a cool movie, and it's basically a giant brontosaurus, and it looks awesome. This monster looks awesome. But I was noticing the scenes of the Londoners fleeing. They look like Londoners back in the day. And London looked like London. The way we've always pictured it in our minds. The way we've always seen photos when we were kids. You look at London, England today, it looks like the fucking cover to the Black Sabbath album, Mob Rules. Looks so different. Josh is here. Welcome, Josh. Excellent interview with Pushing Buttons, by the way. I enjoyed that. And I'm looking forward to part 2. And Emo says that his father also noticed in those years a change. 1983, 84. And then the next year in the 8th grade, which would have been the 1984-85 school year, that's when I first noticed that the heart had moved from being in the left cavity to the center of the chest. And I totally remember when I saw that. It was in health class. And we were supposed to run in place for 1 minute straight and then stop and measure our pulse. And everyone was doing it like this, the way you'd always measure your pulse. But my friend Ricky was doing it by just putting his hand on his heart. And it was in the dead center of his chest. I couldn't believe it. And yeah, ever since then, every diagram, every image I ever saw of a human body, the insides of a human body, the heart would be in the middle. And I first noticed that in the 8th grade. Call for Zero says The Blob from 1950. Or is he saying 50 something? Generated many crazy movies. Yeah. Monster movies are cool. I also like 1970s animal mutation movies like Frogs and Kingdom of the Spiders. And Emo says, I can recommend a film, Joe. Look up a film called Stonehurst Asylum. Write it down. You'll find it. That sounds creepy. But I'm going to write it down. Let's see. You know, the New Mexico State Hospital, which is like mental institution, is located in my hometown, Las Vegas, New Mexico. And when I was in kindergarten, we all rode a bus to the asylum. I'll call it an asylum, and sang for the inmates. No, we were at the state hospital, which is where people get help for mental problems. And we were entertaining the hospital patients. So that was a good thing. And by the way, my grandparents, my grandfathers, the men I was named after, Grandpa Joe and Grandpa Solomon, when they would get drunk in public, the cops back then wouldn't throw you in jail. They'd take you to the state hospital and let you dry out. And my mom remembers bringing cigarettes to them. How did I get talking about that? Let's see. We might as well watch, well, shit. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Carl, I was going to show that video that you put up about Philip K. Dick talking about the Mandela effect in 1977. It's a 5-minute video. If one of you wants me to play it, I'll play it right now. If not, I'll move on. We're getting up to 44 minutes now. Let's see how things go. Rye Russ Reel is here. What's happening? Okay, let's watch. Call for Zero says, I watched many a drunk in my hospital security work. I bet you watched a lot more than that too. All right, hit it, Joe, he says. Let's watch this video. Check it out, you guys. This is Philip K. Dick talking in 1977 about the Mandela effect.
To believe me or to disbelieve. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance. The subject of this speech is a topic which has been discovered recently. A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to interrupt again. I'm going to start it all over. You guys, I just want to say, listen to the gravity. Hate to use that word in his voice. Just this, pardon me, not gravity. Listen to the seriousness in his voice as he's telling this audience in 1977, please hear me.
You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance. The subject of this speech is a topic which has been discovered recently. A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. A variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off, became actualized instead of the prior one, and that in fact, in literal fact, we are once more living this particular segment of linear time. We are accustomed to supposing that all change takes place along the linear time axis, from past to present to future. The present is an accrual of the past and is different from it. The future will accrue from the present on and be different yet. That an orthogonal or right-angled time axis could exist, a lateral domain in which change takes place, processes occurring sideways in reality, so to speak, this is almost impossible to imagine. How would we perceive such lateral changes? What would we experience? What clues, if we are trying to test out this bizarre theory, should we be on the alert for? In other words, how can change take place outside of linear time at all, in any sense, to any degree? Contemplating this possibility of a lateral arrangement of worlds, a plurality of overlapping Earths along whose linking axis a person can somehow move, can travel in a mysterious way from...
And DJ Emo, thanks for the advice. He says, pause and give a thought every few minutes, because then it's you reviewing it for critique, which protects this video from a copyright strike from YouTube. So yeah, he's talking about parallel universes, people. He's talking about parallel universes. And here I thought this was something that happened only in the comics.
worse to fair to good to excellent. Contemplating this in theological terms, perhaps we could say that herewith we suddenly decipher the elliptical utterances which Christ expressed regarding the kingdom of God, specifically where it is located. I, in my stories and novels, often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person, while meantime the other characters either remain in their own worlds throughout or are somehow drawn into one of the peculiar ones. This theme occurs in the corpus of my 27 years of writing. At no time did I have a theoretical or conscious explanation for my preoccupation with these pluriform pseudo-worlds, but now I think I understand. What I was sensing was the manifold of partially actualized realities. It was in February of 1974 that my blocked-off memories of Track A returned, and it was in February of 1974 that my novel, Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said, was released finally after two years' delay. It was almost as if the release of the novel, which had been delayed so long, meant that in a certain sense it was all right for me to remember. That is, to remember that the book was not fiction. The book was based on subliminal memories which I had of such a world. Plural realities did exist, superimposed onto one another like so many film transparencies.
Like so many film transparencies. I remember a gentleman named John used to come on the Brian Stavely Dose of Reality show, and he once suggested this, and some of the people there kind of shut it down, but I always thought that that's kind of like what it is also. It's like a film transparency situation. Like, we can see certain things through the filter, but there are things that we can't see, and it brings to mind hallucinations. Like when I was young and took a lot of acid, I used to see some things that seemed that other people would call a hallucination, but at the time it seemed more real than what I thought reality was. And I'm not the only former acid head who had that experience. Also, in recent years, when I quit alcohol 3.5 years ago, coming up on 4 years in February, I went through terrible DTs, terrible hallucinations, just the most god-awful demonic hallucinations. Oh, man. But those things, man, they seemed real. Like, they seemed like I was in a state where I could see through the filter. What is reality?
What I still do not grasp, however, is how one reality out of the many becomes actualized in contradistinction to the others. More likely, the matrix world, the one with the true core of being, is determined by the programmer. He or it articulates, prints out, so to speak, the matrix choice and fuses it with actual substance. The core or essence of reality, that which receives or attains it, and to what degree, that is within the purview of the programmer. This selection and reselection is part of general creativity, of world building, which seems to be it or his task. I submit to you that such alterations, the creation or selection of such so-called alternative presence, is continually taking place. The very fact that we can conceptually deal with this notion, that is, entertain it as an idea, is the first step in discerning such processes themselves. A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. Evidently, such an alteration would have a peculiar effect on those persons involved. They would, so to speak, be moved back one square or several squares on the board game which constitutes our reality. Conceivably, this could happen any number of times, affecting any number of people, as alternative variables were reprogrammed. We would have to live out each reprogramming along the subsequent linear time axis, but to the programmer, whom we call God, to him the results of the programming would be apparent at once. We are within time, and he is not. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurred.
Wow. Wow. He was just talking about the Mandela effect. That is the only clue that really tells us there's been a tinkering. There's been some kind of change. It's incredible. It's incredible that he likened it to computer, to a matrix back in 77. GT Mustang is here. Welcome, man. Yeah, overlay. And maybe it didn't change. That's right. Call for Zero says maybe it didn't change. Possibly a priority lucid dream condition. Word on the street says they fucked shit up in 2012, Emo says. GT says, I miss LSD. It's too much now and at an older age. Yeah, can't go back. But those were the days, right, GT? Culper Zero says, I've seen a few things in those days, mostly on peyote. Emo says, wild magic mushrooms are in full swing here now before the frost bites in a week or so. Okay. So Emo will be sending out care packages to all of us. All right. Yeah. Aren't you glad you guys made it to the show? That's interesting, Emo. What year was this video filmed in? That's interesting. I'm not going to read all that, people, but it's on the screen. David is here. What's happening, David? Good to see you, man. And Ryan is here. Good to see you, Ryan. Dude, I got unsubscribed from your channel and I cannot find your channel. Even though the word undocked Ryanated is the most unique word around, if I search for that, I can't find your channel. So maybe I need a link because I wanted to show that other football play. I showed that one, but you said there was two. Interesting, Emo. That's interesting. Yeah. Happy New Year. Mm. Okay, there's a fork in the road here. We could either go on telling acid stories or all right. All right. Yeah, I don't know about CERN. And by that I mean as much footage as we've seen of CERN doing weird things like having parades and where they parade strangeness and weirdness and all the crazy things that we hear what they're doing scientifically with reality. I don't know if those are just stories from the fake media or if there's some element of truth in that. So I've always disregarded news regarding CERN. All right. These are good days. It's the fall. Ryan is a walker. Good time of year to go for a walk. The sunlight looks cool. The leaves are getting golden. Albuquerque doesn't have a lot of golden. golden leaves. It doesn't look real autumny here, but there's a mulberry tree right out front. So mulberry trees are cool. I like the way they look. When they turn yellow in the fall, they tend to do it like real quick, like almost like in the span of 24 hours. And then they start falling in a short span as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool now. I'm going to hang out with family on Friday and give out candy. Hey, maybe I wonder if I could do a show. Well, if nothing else, I'll do some photography. See what the kids are wearing for Halloween this year. Yeah, I was Casper the first time I ever trick or treated. Casper the Friendly Ghost. Ryan says the leaves here are fully turned. Ohio is beautiful right now. Awesome. So tonight is the first frost of Albuquerque. And they didn't predict it. This just came on like in the last few hours. They're saying severe weather alert, freeze warning. It might get as low as 28. That's alarming news for New Mexicans. 28 degrees. Let's take a look at sunrise, sunset before I say goodnight. Sunrise today was at 7:25 a.m. Wait a minute. Let me show you guys. I want to tell you what tomorrow's is. Since we're already past sunset today. Tomorrow, October 30th, sun rises at 7:26. And it sets at 6:13 p.m. So days are getting shorter, less light. Well, Call for Zero says, my parents used to get between 60 and 100 trick-or-treaters. Times change. Let's start to say goodnight, people. I'm going to read a few more comments. Emo says, winter is coming, gentlemen. Man the hatches, chop the wood, stable the horses, and remember your socks. David says, Joe, it's good old 50 during the day and 20 at night in Idaho. Josh says, it's never beautiful in the part of Ohio I am at. Laugh out loud. Ryan says, it's been 28 at least 5 times here already. Time to move, huh, David? Yeah, man. Get yourself a cozy environment for that tent. David says, dude, Halloween isn't the same. Excuse me, he said, dude, Halloween ain't the same. Okay, what's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. And why didn't the baker like his new assistant? He was too needy. And one last time before I say goodnight, you guys, I'm going to read Isaiah 55, verse 8 and 9. And each of those verses is one sentence long. So 2 sentences I'm going to read. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Yeah. Yeah. We don't think like God. Our thoughts are meaningless. And maybe the deepest lie that they told us is the lie about our thoughts. This lie that our thoughts are our own. They are not our own. They come from the dark force. Separate ourselves from those thoughts. That's what the human race needs to do. We need to separate ourselves from our thoughts. And that's where it's at. Forgive our parents, drop our anger, let the light of God shine within us, and be present. And that's like heaven on earth. On earth as it is in heaven. All right. All right. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll be coming at you again real soon. It's good to see you guys. Call for Zero says, everyone check Thursday video on my channel. Trippy music video. All right. And Nate has a good Halloween joke. How come they don't celebrate Halloween in India? How come they don't celebrate Halloween in India? Because there's no more Gandhi. Huh? Huh? Death is the biggest lie. Right on, Ryan. All right, everybody. Take it easy. Peace and love.